Mr. Secretary, we welcome you here, and given the circumstances under which you come here, you might be wishing you were on this side of the dais again. But you asked for work when you got down there, and you certainly have it. I join with Senator Landrieu in welcoming you and praising you for your determination to take this job that has turned out to be perhaps more interesting and challenging than you might have thought. I respect what you're saying about the facts not being fully available yet, and I think we need to be careful not to jump to too quick a judgment in some situations, and applaud your effort to get those facts investigated and together. Most of the questions that can and should be asked with respect to the facts before us have been, so I'd like to just look out a little. I'm sure my line of questioning will not come as a complete surprise to you. You made the reference to 3 Mile Island in your opening statement, and how this country, in my view, made a very serious mistake following 3 Mile Island to pull back on nuclear power. And I hope we don't make a mistake with respect to developing our resources here, because we need the oil. We need it domestically. The more dependent we become on imported oil, the more difficult many of our challenges are. So let's talk about not only drilling, how quickly we can resume drilling offshore, but let's talk about what we can do to increase the amount of drilling onshore to replace the oil and energy facilities that will be lost while we're engaged in this investigation, and while we've got a moratorium on any further going forward until we get all of the answers to which you've referred. You and I have had this conversation before about the regulations that, in my view, slow down looking for oil and gas opportunities here in the United States, particularly on public land. You've said to me that one of the reasons that royalties are down so dramatically in the state of Utah and public land states is that the industry as a whole is showing the price has gone down, and so that's why people aren't drilling. Since that we've had that conversation, I've been to Texas, and I find that on private lands they are drilling for energy resources. And one of the obvious differences is if people choose to drill on private land rather than public land, there is no royalty paid either to my state or to the federal government. Now, there's money that's paid in taxes in terms of the profits that these companies made, but can I use this as a time to nudge you to try to speed up the process by which we can expand our search for oil and gas on public lands, onshore, that don't have the kinds of problems that you have in this particular challenge?
Thank you very much, Senator Bennett, and thank you for your friendship and your hard work here in the United States Senate. Let me respond in 3 ways to your questions and your comments. First, the status that we are in today is essentially that we have hit the pause button. The President has been very clear with me, hit the pause button. We have hit the pause button with respect to OCS development. That means we will make decisions in the days and weeks ahead about how exactly we will be moving forward on a panoply of issues relating to the OCS.
I agree completely with that decision, that the pause button makes sense.
Okay. Number 2, with respect to oil and gas, we have been clear from the beginning of the administration that we see oil and gas as being part of the energy portfolio of the United States. It's necessary for us for energy security reasons, for economic security reasons, and without it, we essentially would have an economy that would shut down. So we will have oil and gas as part of our energy future, I have no doubt. Third, with respect to speeding up onshore development, Senator Bennett, You might remember it was not all that long ago where I did the cancellation of the 77 lease sales in Utah.
Yeah, I remember that.
In large part because what I wanted to do was to make sure that it was being done right and responsibly with the right environmental review. Deputy Secretary David Hayes will never forget his meeting in Vernal, Utah, where he came before a crowd of some 800 very angry people who were very concerned about the changes that we were making. However, that has been resolved, and we're still working on a number of issues relating to that particular incident. I think it typifies what we have been doing as an administration from the very beginning, and that is finding a way of doing business that brings balance to what we are doing with respect to oil and gas development. We believe that we need to develop oil and gas, but we also believe strongly that we need to develop it in a responsible way that respects both the environment and respects the ecological values that we are protecting, and that is equally true with respect to the robust effort, which has been a new change for the Department of Interior on embracing the new energy future, which includes solar and wind and geothermal. I was in your state in the last month where the students at Milford, Utah, spoke about you in very positive terms about what had happened in Milford, Utah, where we are now moving forward there with two of the most extensive renewable energy projects, which this committee at some point in time, Senator Bingaman may want to actually go to Milford, Utah to see what is happening there with respect to first a wind project, which will ultimately grow to about 1,000 megawatts of power. Secondly, with respect to a geothermal plant, which is generating about 50 megawatts of power. And third, with respect to a solar energy facility, which they are planning to propose there. And fourth, what will be the newest, one of the significant expansions to transmission to get renewable energy from Milford, Utah, to places in where it will be consumed. So there's a lot of work that we have done, a lot of work yet remaining to be done.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm sure you didn't expect to come here without my raising the issue of what can we do about getting the oil and gas leases moving a little more rapidly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Udall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to all of you. Secretary, thank you for being